I've been putting them because lots of the people, the artificers and craftsmen and women in Nysera are pretty advanced. Like they do some pretty technical stuff. So it seemed weird that they would like not have been able to figure out how to do a better bullet than just like a ball and a bunch of gunpowder. So they're kind of a nice halfway between where it's still kind of cool and fantasy looking, um, and a little steampunky, but not so advanced that they're just like gunning people down with machine guns, right? So right now I'm doing the code to check to make sure that they have the right training to even use them because they are rather rare as far as equipment goes. They're sort of a exotic weapon.
Okay, I finally figured it out, you guys. So we've actually tried out a couple different ways to stream and such, and so we're still figuring things out. Like one of the things we tried was Twitch at first, and then people, well, actually no, our first one was Discord, and then we went on Twitch, and then someone was like YouTube Live, and then we're back to Discord because it's like the we have so many people everywhere, so we're trying to make it available for folks, but yeah.
Still not really sure what like the best option is, honestly.
I don't think there is a best option.
I don't think so either. I think that it's really just like the important thing is that we record it and that the people that who are going to show up and care, right, um, have the option to, which is Discord, right? Discord's the easiest way for people to tune in and just listen to what we're doing. Maybe check out and watch if we're doing art or something, or if we have a speaker. So I think that's the best way for folks to enjoy it.
I did mute the chat though, and I think that's something that we need to do automatically, or just VC. And there is something that Discord created. It's like a new feature where it's like Stadium or something like that, where it's essentially stream but on Discord, which would actually be perfect for this kind of stuff. But you know, it's like game development is a very iterative process. You kind of stumble your way through it, and what's funny is you get to see this kind of stuff real time, whereas you look at all the games that are created there in AAA studios, stuff like that, you never get to see the actual like scramble and stuff. So I think that's another cool feature of just the indie world is you actually get to see what goes on in the background, and you realize it's always like a learning process. It's a continuous learning process. So I think it's very human to just be part of.
Yep, I agree. Sharing and figuring out things and improving.
You said that so officially.
It's something I've read about and learned a lot about. So it's actually a topic I really like about just anthropology and kind of ancient human studies.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's a very, like you said, a very human thing.
Okay. You said that in a very wise man voice.
It's something I think about. So yeah, I had a little prepared thought in my mind.
Ooh, another thing I was thinking, and honestly, just like chat, let me know what y'all think, because Um, I mean, you guys, we've gotten like our best advice from you guys, so would love to hear your thoughts. But I was thinking of just having it here, right? So that folks who aren't on like Twitch or YouTube and who's on the server, they can just pop in. Obviously, we're gonna have um the VC muted like we have right now. And then we're broadcasting it on YouTube for all the YouTube folks. I don't think we're going to broadcast it on Twitch. Like, we have a very small following there. We have a
Yeah, we
bigger.
don't really have a dent there that we can work our way into. So
Yeah, and like the first couple times were a little rough trying to figure out guests.
plus, like Twitch is a place too where it's like constant streaming, right? That's what the algorithm there prefers, is like non-stop streamers, people that are on there for like 6-7 hours every day, right? That's so it was kind of a way for me to do it with better quality, because that was initially the problem, is when I was streaming a long time ago, mostly like just art streams. The quality was so bad on Discord because it was like the lowest possible quality, and people just couldn't see anything that I was doing really. So I switched to Twitch just because I could stream directly to it through OBS, and so that just the quality was actually good enough. But I think because we have like kind of a premium account, right, for our Discord, we can just stream much higher quality here.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I actually figured out how to stream it at a better quality on YouTube, and y'all don't need to know this, but I'm excited about it anyways. But it's just a neat little thing where you figure out what your upload rate is, right? And usually you can just type in like online speed test, and then based off of that, there's certain requirements for 1080p or HD all the way up to 4K. Like whenever you see the settings where you can just toggle the quality, the video quality, it's so entirely dependent on your upload speed. So there's a little chart out there that tells you, if your upload is this, you can go up to this, and then so on and so forth. For us, I think our internet speed is crazy good, so we can, if we ever wanted to, we could go up to 4K, but I think HD is just fine.
I mean, 4K YouTube is kind of overkill.
I like it though, it's so crispy. I like 4K.
I mean, for me, like I watch a lot of documentary kind of stuff, and so for me, it's like, oh, and not even documentaries. I watch like a lot of what are they called? Just like commentary stuff, and video essays. That's what it is. And lots of them are stock footage, right? So it's like, yeah, I can see this guy shaking hands with someone in HD.
It was almost your D&D barbarian voice.
I mean, it's just my voice.
Not, I mean, this is your normal voice, but the other one. I'm in a WWE fight and I'm throwing chairs voice. I put this in Wreck It Wednesday channel on the Discord here, but just for everybody here, how are y'all? Oh, someone in chat is sick. Get some rest. Hopefully you have the day off. Okay. Your day is not getting better. I'm hoping this is kind of the end of your day, though. No day off. Womp womp. Everyone's just getting off work. Yeah, yesterday was really rough. I, for some of you on the server who's really keen, uh, I had like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and I just kind of went right back into work and such. So yesterday I kind of died. Apparently, if you don't get any sleep for what, 24 hours, I think is the metric, it's the equivalent, like your senses are the equivalent of being drunk. So if you've never been drunk before, all you have to do is not get a whole lot of sleep, and you'll know exactly how that is without your balance being completely off. Well, maybe actually no. When I'm sleepy, my balance is terribly off. I uh I think my I think when I'm drunk, I'll say that my senses are the equivalent to the Amazing Spider-Man, and then when I'm not drunk, then I'm a little bit more realistic. But Tony actually he thinks it's funny when I'm drunk. I don't get like that often because I have a lot of stuff to do. But I would say a happy drunk, I guess is what they call it. I'll like watch a Disney movie and comment on it and rip into it in the cutest way.
Yeah, you swear a lot more when you're drunk,
Poetry.
but
That's what
not like angry like swearing. Just you kind of. I think you're a lot more surprised by things when you're drunk.
Someone thinks that's sweet. Sorry, go for it.
Oh yeah, you just like you'll say funny things because when you're drunk, the world is new to you again, right?
Oh God.
Like you've watched, you know, you've watched The Lion King a million times. Like I know it's one of your favorite movies ever. But when you're drunk, you act like you've never seen it before. Every character's action is this like nascent character reveal. They're like, "Oh, Scar, why would you do that?" It's great.
Actually, there's a YouTube channel that records themselves drunk reviewing like Disney movies and stuff like that. They'll get 5, 6 people on the same couch and they'll record themselves. They usually have a game or something where, let's say, like every single time the princess cries or something, you take another shot. And I recommend it. Definitely look them up. It's entertaining.
Well, the fix I needed to do, or not really the fix, but just like the addition I needed to do, wasn't really that much work. So it's kind of nice because I don't have to do too much. So I'm just gonna start programming in the projectiles then.
Projectiles.
The bullets.
Long word for do not get hit. Oh yeah, so for those of you who've joined and are wondering like why was there a 4 minute stream and then it was gone? And I think the stream auto posted on the Discord like separate times because we have a plugin that automatically alerts Discord for certain things, YouTube posting being one of them. Uh, so, story behind that. Last time, and this was for Speaker Sunday when we had that awesome time with Ari, our resident voice actor. That time, OBS was giving Tony such a fuss, and I kid you not, we've probably spent over 10 hours trying to figure out streaming before even streaming. This is not even including during streaming. This is like, we've had 5 different meetings or so on Saturday to prep the stream and all and test it out. And on Saturdays, it always works. And then on Sunday, I don't know what it is, and I don't think Tony knows either. But something always goes wrong, and so last event we had, Tony figuratively flipped the OBS table and was like, yeah, you're gonna do this from now on. So I had to learn how to do OBS before but before I could do that, I had to.
You're literally the video editor, and you have the chump over here who's like, I'll do this part for you, and then every time I run a video for you, it's like, oh, I had to edit a million things out for it. So I don't know why we had me doing it in the first place.
That's a really good question. Why were you doing it in the first place?
I don't know. I think I was trying to be helpful when it actually was just not a good idea.
Tony is such a hard worker. He tries to take on more than he should take on, in my opinion. I also do the same thing. I feel like there's I don't know. We go butler mode is what we call it on each other to try to make the other's life easier. So I think it was just one of those moments. I was probably off doing something, and then you took the opportunity to just like, without saying a word, just figure out the streaming part. But yeah, so now I'm doing all the streaming stuff, and from now on we're gonna have all the streams on Discord here. And honestly, I kind of like it here because it's more accessible. Like, I did not have a Twitch account before all of this. I just didn't watch any streams. I would go on YouTube, and even then I didn't watch any streams there. The only time I would watch streams is via Discord, and I have like a million gazillion Discord channels on gaming where I'd just pop in and watch someone play a game. So, thank goodness for Discord, really. Which they totally changed the layout, which is interesting. Okay, I need to catch up on chat here. Tequila. Yeah, there's always gonna be those moments in your life where you come across a food that is essentially out to destroy your bowels. But you don't know when you eat the food. It's almost like a succubi. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And then the night comes. Dark Lilette. I just think of Dark Link when you say that. Dark Lilette. Oh, Lord of the Rings. See, that move, I have to watch Disney movies when I'm drunk because Lord of the Rings is just too complex for my drunk brain.
Yeah, that was really fun when we tried to get you to play like this brand new board game we got.
While I was drunk?
And you were drunk, and you...
In front of my mother-in-law. In front of your mom.
My whole family and friends, and you looked down at it, and I was like explaining the rules, and you just like, I got like halfway through the rules, and then you were just looking at, I think it was a character sheet or something, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I can't do this.
Look, I admit my weaknesses when I see them.
You do?
I guess. I don't know. I thought that was the appropriate thing to say.
You were just being realistic.
And the game was Exploding Kittens. You know, I've been doing some research on Exploding Kittens. Minor research, minor research. Their Kickstarter is crazy. They are an amazing Kickstarter story. And I'm sure some of you are like, okay, type in Exploding Kittens on Kickstarter. When you see the page, it'll blow you away. I'm not going to say anything. You got to do the research yourself. You know, research takes effort, you guys. Do your own research. But I'll sum it up anyways. They made so much money. And it's an Exploding Kittens game. I just, you know, the key, though, was they had somebody who's a very famous cartoonist. I know. Yeah. Okay. The comments are coming in. They're like, holy crap. I know. Right? Like, my brain cannot fathom how, like, it comes to the argument of who's better, cats or dogs, right? I will say, I think cats sell more. Like, if I were to put my money on something, it's probably a kitten.
Yeah, I think so.
And I hate that.
I think they have more internet appeal.
They are cuter. I think they're cuter. They're cuter. They're one of the cutest animals in the world, is kittens.
Well, like, because dogs are lovable, but cats are goofy, right? Because cats do stupid shit, and they're small, and they just have this erratic behavior about them. Whereas we like dogs because they consistently love us the same way, right? And we know what they're going to do for the most part.
Wait, is that why we love them? Is to receive love? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
To receive love? That's why we got a dog?
Yeah, humans like dogs. The only reason we have dogs is because they love us.
I
They
feel like
don't
that's
do
a you
anything.
thing.
They don't do anything.
What if I'm very much loved and I don't need love? Maybe my reason's different. Maybe you want love. And that's what dogs represent to you.
Okay.
He's like, I'm gonna go back to coding now. Okay, so fewer people would buy a game called Exploding Puppies?
This is true.
Uh-huh.
That sounds infinitely worse.
You know what? There's like a passive aggressiveness that accompanies kittens. I will say, like, why would we want to explode a kitten? But then when someone says exploding a puppy, you're obviously a villain. I didn't finish the Lord of the Rings thought. Someone just said I'm a villain and I wouldn't. Then you're not villainous enough. Then are you a real villain? That should actually be the initiation. Like, if I were to run a multi-billion-dollar villain cult, I would probably have that as part of the initiation. Is you have to be enough of a villain to explode a puppy. And yes, this is on YouTube Live. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good metric, really. Like, what's more evil than that? Actually, there's so many different ways you can measure villainy. Because so I would say exploding a puppy is actually, like, in the heartless category of villainy. Okay, so being a villain is complex. There's a lot of character traits you need to embody to attain villainhood, to be a proper villain. It's really a professional career in of itself. Takes a lot of dedication. you have to have goals or not have goals. I guess the Joker is. It's a very dynamic career choice. What do you mean there's not enough time to develop a game, write several stories, draw a comic, and create a mod for another game? We'll just budget out sleeping. I just saw that comment. Budget out sleeping. And then we'll make the game technically drunk. Because when you don't get enough sleep, you have the capabilities of a drunk person. So yeah, you would get... You could say that, oh yeah, that game, Lords of Nysera, was made by two drunk people. Literally, they were drunk the entire time. Alright, let's see here. Oh man, okay. Too many Russian and terrorist similarities. That was in response to fewer people would buy a game called Exploding Puppies. But what if the people who released Exploding Kittens release Exploding Puppies as like a DLC?
Well, it'd have to be like imploding puppies, right? It would be something different. I'd do imploding.
And also, yes, you can definitely type in Wreck It Wednesday. That's kind of where I'm monitoring. Man, you made me fumble. Someone said nuking puppies, and that's just really hard to ignore. You're making me mumble. Yes, but yeah, please type in the Wreck It Wednesday channel. And then for those of you on YouTube Live, I'm giving priority to the members in our Discord. Still love you guys, obviously, but just know where my eyeballs are. But I'm monitoring both, so while talking at the same time. Somehow. But we are here to fix, or not fix bugs this time. Usually Wreck It Wednesday is to fix things. Even though it has Wreck It on it. We're trying to fix broken things. That's... See?
I mean, we're wrecking the code by adding stuff in, technically.
It's a stretch, isn't it?
I mean, by adding things into the game, you cause bugs, and that is wrecking it.
Okay, alright.
Wrecking does not imply fixing, otherwise it'd be Fix It Friday.
Otherwise it'd be Fix It Friday. Yeah, no, Wreck It Wednesday is like Wreck It Ralph. I almost said Wreck It Wolf.
Wreck It Wolf.
I don't think that movie would sell as well as Wreck It Ralph. Just, titles matter. Everyone would think it was a comedy. Okay, so level setting though. What the heck are we looking at, Tony?
Yeah, so I should just replace it with something because I got a little off track. So this is the effect object. So every time you attack someone in the game, it creates an effect, and this little object does all sorts of things. There's a ton of code here because there's so many different types of effects. So I just added in a bunch of bullets to the game, but they're just sprites right now, right? So I need them to actually do something when they spawn in the game. And so I have it pretty much based off of what sprite is being used. So for example, if you shoot your gun and it's got a gold bullet, then it produces the gold bullet and it flies really fast through the world and it has to make a sound. I don't actually have a gunshot sound in the game just yet, So I need to either find one that I can use, or I might have to get a small little pack of sounds online that I can use. Which is probably what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go look for some really high quality, like musket sounding kind of gunshots. But for now, I can just create a sound and then just replace it with something else. So all this is not very fun to look at, partially because I can't show you what like the game looks like at the same time, which is kind of weird. But but yeah, so what I'm doing next is I'm gonna map out the projectile trajectory with effects. So this will be like smoke clouds and then like some sparks when it's shot. So it should be pretty neat once it's done. But until then, I got to um, just add in some placeholder sounds, more or less.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever heard your D&D barbarian voice?
I mean, it's just Macho Man Randy Savage.
Can you demonstrate? With the words, Tony Smash.
Tony Smash?
Yeah, that's the words.
Why Tony Smash? I don't act like the Hulk when I go barbarian, when I play barbarians.
Listen, I'm not chat god.
Is that just what people are asking for?
It's straight, yeah, straight from chat god. He's giving me this face. He's like, I don't like that you're calling chat God. Giving chat power.
Audio of someone saying bang. Yeah, it should just be pew pew.
That's not even... If a barbarian walked up to me and said pew pew...
No, I was responding to the chat.
Oh.
The actual chat. Which was Space Pirate Yara saying the sound should just be someone saying bang for the guns.
Yeah, I mean, we have a soundboard feature. We could literally do sound effects. Or actually, I think you guys can even do sound effects, annoyingly enough. I think you guys have that permission in VC, so... Which I tried them out. It was... Okay, so I will say, I went into chat, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I was like... playing around with the soundboard, and I kid you not, there was one that's just like a bunch of farts and like a bunch of unsavory items, and I definitely pressed on a few, and part of me was like, because I was the only one in VC at 10:45 at night or something, I was like, I wonder if anyone popped in at the worst moment. They're like, what the heck is she doing? Curiosity. It's good for everybody. Maybe. Alright, come on, Tony.
So wait, you're waiting on me to do the Macho Man Randy Savage voice?
Yeah.
But like, I like doing it in situations, in like D&D.
Okay, let me see if that's true or not. I've heard your voice outside of D&D, so... You're a liar.
Yeah, but it has to have context, otherwise I'm just like gonna be talking to you in the voice.
Are you asking me to participate?
Yeah, if you want something from me, I require equal exchange. I don't just dance for you.
Oh. Great. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right, Tony. You want to play some D&D? Because you only do the voice while you're playing D&D.
I mean, I'm kind of supposed to be working.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to get something done here.
Okay. Someone did give you a scenario though, and it's a good one. He's reading it.
An orc approaches from behind and stabs the lead.
I think he'd be fine with it at this point.
Preparing to finish her.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Let it happen. I allow it."
Okay, so in that case, I'll just describe what I would do as my wizard tensor transformation self.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so if someone came up and stabbed Lilette as her character, I would summon my magic mouth microphone into my hand and, "Oh, you think you just stabbed my wife? She's about to nuke your ass with a smite."
I'm a paladin in that game. I smite everyone. And it's so much fun.
"You may think I'm the dangerous one because I'm twice as big as you, but I'm not."
Hey Tony, what'd you say to that one dude that you pummeled like 7 times? Literally 7 times. He died over and over and kept on rezzing. Died, rezzing. We didn't know when he was actually gonna die.
I think what I did was I cast Force Cage with me inside it, and he was like half turned into a dragon. And he said something to the effect of, "You fool! You've trapped yourself in here with me. Oh, that's what I wanted, bitch."
Yeah, that's how we started the encounter, and I had lost it. I lost it. I was like, actually, I'm not going to join the fight. I am going to summon with my Horn of Valhalla, which summons barbarians. And I was like, okay, so Horn of Valhalla rolls d6 or d8. 6 ladies come out of the horn, and they're dressed in WWE clothing. And they're all super buff. And then we even gave them names. Like, there was one who, her name was Deborah. The other one was like Lucy, and some other one whose name was like Bethica or something like that. It was atrocious.
It's a bunch of ridiculous names.
And then I didn't even fight in the fight because he was beating the final boss so well. I just sent my ladies to go in and assist.
Yeah, and all they did was like grapple them so that I could just fist fight him. I think like they actually just like, so they spawned with axes, like battle axes, but we just made them have folding chairs, and so they're just wailing on this half dragon like overlord demon monster.
Yeah, they were taking turns just like wailing on him. So one of the ladies just like went what is it? Like 2 ladies grabbed the arms and legs of another lady and then just like 1, 2, 3 heaved her into the air as she like got into an elbow crunch and then landed right on the guy's back. It was great. But yeah, he was a wizard in that game, and he still became a barbarian. That's kind of our joke, is like any character he plays, no matter the class, ends up becoming a barbarian. But okay, yes, we definitely do have to get some work done. So,
It's already 8 o'clock.
okay, yes, it's already 8 o'clock. But I do want to share a little bit of an update, right? We are in sprint number 2. So our sprints begin and end every 2 weeks. And they start on Mondays, they end on Sundays. So we just started one. Um, and this one, we're actually working on chapter 3. Tony got all of the things that he needed to do in sprint 1, which was a list of bugs and such. So it wasn't all the bugs. We have a lot of bugs to work on. But we essentially set aside, like, here's what we're going to work on for the sprint, and we're going to see how fast we can do them, and if we can get through it all. So this sprint, he's doing chapter 3. And then I've been setting up some more admin stuff, but I'm going to be hopping onto the bug fixing scene soon myself. So, but he's been working on chapter 3. You guys have already seen a lot of the things that are at least shareable, because there's a lot of new features in chapter 3, lots of spells. Tony, what list of spells are you adding in?
Let's take a look-see. So we've got Meteor, Tremor, Earthen Wall, Stone Skin, Reform, Empower, and Blaze. So a lot of new spells added because you're facing off against the Sartians, and the Sartians have a bunch of rock-slinging druids. So you meet a few of them in one battle, but they're pretty low level and they don't really have any like area effect spells. But this is an actual army with their high level dudes, and so they face you with some pretty hefty magic. So I think Mr. Blonde mentioned how it looks pretty intimidating in the chapter 3, this like force that you're fighting against, but the prologue is like the lowest number of units you ever have in the game, right? In chapter 1 you get a whole bunch of units, and then you also get access to the army system, which lets you have generics as well. So you have your own units that you can face quite you have quite the army yourself, is what I'm trying to say. But it's definitely the biggest force you face in the game so far. And that's typically how it goes, right? There's like an escalating level of difficulty and scale to the battles, and it wavers eventually, but this is kind of the big first test for the player to see if they actually got the skills to tactically take down a significant army in the game. So you have aid as well. Like in the first couple chapters, you have allies that come to your aid and help out. And depending on difficulty level, they have more or less units that come to your help, or they may not come at all. It entirely depends. But it's definitely doable, especially because like you're at the point in the game where you can take a few losses and not just lose the battle, right? Where in the first, like the prologue, if Charlotte dies, like you lose, or if any of the other characters get knocked out, you pretty much are hobbled for the rest of that battle. But in this other one, if you lose one character, especially if you don't have permadeath on, it's not too big of a deal. So it's just you don't want to, but at the same time, like Tremor, which is it's kind of a mid-level earth spell, it can hit up to 8 units. It's a short-range area of effect, so it has to be positioned around the caster, but you can do a lot of damage with it. So if you let one of those druids get close, they can just wipe out a whole group of your units, just like how you can throw fireballs and shoot lightning bolts at that point. They can take out theirs. So it becomes quite the exchange of magical combat at this point in the campaign. So it should be a pretty awesome battle, actually, as long as it like plays out well. I'm a little worried that the map might be a little too constrained with where all the action goes down, but it's kind of meant to be this sort of choke point in the map itself. In fact, y'all will get to check it out at some point, so I won't try to spoiler too much here, but I've planned it out story-wise, right, to have this sort of tactical situation, but I'm also finding that, like, I watched a whole video on, like, realism, right? And sometimes I'm not sure if a realistic scenario translates to a fun map. So we gotta test these things out, of course, and see if it is. But my hope is that it'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. And then can you teach us Just in a very broad, strokey sense, what you're doing right now in the code, and teach us in a way that's super duper simple because I don't know everyone's level of coding here. But, give some context into what all the different colors might mean or anything like that. Whatever you find interesting.
Sure. So I just added in these bullets, right? And they move differently than all the other projectiles. So I need to set up a little, pretty much right. Okay, so I'll just highlight, right? So all I did was copy a previous projectile to get started with. The previous one was effect move type curved. So that's just like a curved arc, right? That's all it is. It's what you see when
It's actually a
say,
little difficult to tell when it's highlighted.
okay,
Sorry.
I'll just put the cursor over it then.
Yeah.
So effect move type curved. That just refers to a specific projectile movement that I have coded. I have a whole list of these, more or less, they're called macros, which they're just actually a value that refers to an ID. That's all it is. But it helps because that way I don't have to say like effect move type equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I don't have to remember the ID because it's in text. So this is the type of movement that Cholet uses for his fire attack. So it has that kind of unique, specific arc to it. It's not like a perfect parabola, right? It's this sort of, anyways. I'm going to do, though, we're doing effect move type bullet. And so what it's doing here is it's checking if the effect is a bullet type of movement. And then it's asking here, has the effect started on its path? So when you make an object in GameMaker, you can give it a path. In this case, it's just a direct line from the attacker to the defender. So all I gotta do is set a path to go along that. And that's what I'm gonna do here in the create projectile path. So, because all this stuff is still useful. The effect delay here just indicates when the projectile starts, sometimes there's a delay, like with the bows, where it has like the little build-up sound, the little like drawing back. Same thing with this. There'll be a little click sound before the person pulls the trigger or something like that, and then it'll fire. So there's probably going to be like a maybe a fourth of a second delay for this specifically. And that'll be in a different section of code. But to do the next part, we gotta do this here, which is create projectile path. So we have all these different ones here, but it's gonna be real easy because we're just gonna tell it to do a line path. And if we go here, we're gonna just copy one of these actually. So I got all these different path types. All this is gonna look really confusing, but it's more or less making parabolas for lots of these. But we don't need any of it. We just need the start and the end, which is this SX and EXY.
Okay, yeah, I see. So you got the first point and last point. Cool.
Yep, and so some of these, they adjust the projectile arc. So like for example, a ballista, it has a lower projectile arc. We don't need it in this case because it's a direct line. So we're just going to delete this as well.
Nice. Yeah, and I think we've got projectile arcs on most of the spells, and some of them are even sine waves.
Yeah, so some of them are really interesting. So The because you can do any kind of path you want more or less with the system I've come up with. So lots of the thrown weapons, they just go in a little arc, and I can kind of adjust the height, and they spin, right? So they can spin around at different rates and make little noises. The lightning one was one I was really proud of, which is this guy here, and it pretty much it starts with a line, but then it adds in a bunch of variations that simulate a lightning bolt, and it even will randomly add in extra little forks to it that make teeny versions of that. So that one was really cool. And I'm gonna use that one for quite a few things actually, with like little variations to how much it, um, branches and stuff. So it's pretty neat. And the nice thing too is, so like all these different paths, right? So you make a path, you can do any particles and effects you want along that path. So for this line effect that I'm gonna do, um, it's just going to draw a line itself effectively and then move the bullet along that path really fast. But along that line, at the very beginning, I'm going to do more or less a large puff of clouds. But then as it moves along that line, I'm going to taper it with smaller amounts of those clouds and with like a smaller radius that they can move outward. So it's going to give the effect of like a musket plume, more or less. But by the end of that line, there should be no projectile, there should be no particles whatsoever. So it won't draw like a white line, right? It'll just do a little kind of a teardrop shape at the beginning, ideally. So this is all I need to do here. We're going to go back to here, and this is really what we want to do it all in. So because it's going to move really fast along this line. And what it does here, so we create the projectile path. Right here is the next script that says path start. So all it does is start our little bullet on that path. It's going to have a speed, which we have given it earlier, that it moves along, and then this little doodad here tells it to stop at the end. You can change that so that it like can go on a loop if you want to, but we don't want that.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, because you can't just have because if you tell it to just loop, it'll just go forever, right? Until you manually destroy it with code or you kill the game. So
wait, hold on. Are you telling me there's gonna be are you telling me that you can code in the bullet dude from Mario?
You mean like the bullet bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, more or less.
That'd be so funny. It's just like, what if you could find a gun in the game and it's a bug, quote unquote bug that people can find by doing certain things in like a certain way. I'm sure someone will find it, but then you find a gun that just shoots bullet bills.
Yeah, I mean, there's funny debug items that people make all the time. That there's no legitimate way to get it in the game, but if people change data values, right, or hack into it, they can change that up and give it to a character, which would be a funny thing of having like more or less an orbital laser gun that just launches a bullet bill at someone. Okay. So yeah, it's going to start on the path here, and all we wanted to do is create some projectiles along this path. So we're going to move up here, and there's actually a specific place in this that I lose track of all the time.
It makes me think that the missing go from Pokemon was basically Easter egg. Like, it wasn't like that was intentional,
Oh, so the missing no glitch is really interesting because there's a whole bunch. So every Pokemon is just an ID value, right? And so there's a bunch of broken references. So when there's a Pokemon like a gap in the ID list, that's a missing no. It's literally a missing number, right? It doesn't have an ID attached to it. That's where the acronym comes from.
That's
Which
great.
like it's not even spelled right. It's like a or missing name, missing number. It's some bad reference more or less. And it didn't have a sprite, and so you get this glitchy nonsense. But I also don't know too much about that system, but apparently you could literally you could change the code actively by doing those weird glitches in the game, which always amazes me that people are able to do that.
Well, we had recently talked to a speed tester at a Pig Squad event in Portland, and they were like uh, describing how they play through games, and the people who do find them are intentionally going out there to poke every wall and do things a million times to figure out a faster way to play the game. And those are the people who end up finding these quote unquote bugs. So, or glitches. But I think this is a really this is an opportunity. One of these nights, you guys, if we're persuaded enough, we'll create a glitch together. And only the people in VC will be aware of that glitch, and we're going to put you all on NDAs, and you can tell no one, but you will know. So you will know where the bullet bill gun is. Be some of the select few. So we did have a question from earlier regarding how long each chapter is, Tony. If you can just tell us how long this chapter will be, chapter 3.
So my kind of like range of average, right, of how long it takes to like beat a chapter, um, and find the secrets in a reasonable time, um, hovers around like 30 minutes to an hour. So chapter 1, for example, takes about an hour to beat. And I know how to beat it, so that's like an hour of knowing what to do, right? Which is quite a lot actually. There's a lot to do in that first chapter, but it's also one of the biggest maps in the game because there's just a lot going on in it. Um, Second chapter, I can beat it pretty quickly. It only takes me about 30-ish minutes, and this one should take about 30-ish as well. So the average chapter time, if like once you get the hang of the game, will take probably about 30 minutes, I'm guessing. Maybe more if you're just like exploring and trying out stuff. Especially because like again, I know where the secrets are, right? So I don't have to meander. I haven't had to meander around to find them. But I know some people have like scoured maps for all sorts of stuff already, like the prologue. Um, so I don't think it'll take too long to beat every one of them, but there is one problem with how big the maps are and how many units are, is that it's the enemy turns can be slow. And so I'm thinking I need to find a way to add an easy skip function to some of those, just to some of the battle aspects, and maybe even just like a skip until a battle is initiated, so that it just like runs through all the movement, right, without having to wait. And then as soon as like something important actually happens, then they fight. Because I think that'll cut down on a lot of the just waiting time in battles. But hopefully that answers the question. Roughly 30 to 60 minutes per map.
That sounds about right. And then you also have like side quest maps that can make chapters even longer.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like there's I don't know how many side chapters I'll be able to get in by the time the game is not only like out, but then like complete. But if I can get like at least one side, um, like side questy little thing, um, like one every other main map, I think that would be fun. And then have just like a big dungeon too that can be explored that has like maybe like 7 or 6 levels to it that people can spend a whole bunch of time just killing monsters and repeating it to gain XP and find cool shit. That would be a good just like extra thing to add to the game. Definitely want at least one big dungeon in the game by release. Um, but yeah, like really, I think the first playthrough that people get in the game, um, it should take about like the same length as a Fire Emblem game. So if you're just doing the chapters, then it'll be about probably 20 hours maybe if you just like ran through the game as fast as you could. Not even speed running, just literally like trying to beat the levels. But if you try and do everything in the game and you do crafting stuff and you check out maps and do side quests, it'll easily be 40 hours plus for the first playthrough, just because of like there's a lot of management stuff in the game because it's menu heavy because it's a lot of unit management, item trading and selling and stuff. So that's a bit of a time sink that I don't really like, and so I've tried to ameliorate that with drag and drop features. People who've played around with the arena demo specifically, like you've seen some of that if you've messed around with any of the different menus there. So my hope is that there's not too much fluff as far as the game goes, and that it's mostly just people getting to try out cool maps.
Yeah, I love the idea of side quests. I That's basically the just Skyrim to me. I save the main quests for last, and or didn't even do it, and I would just go around the map doing side quests. And Breath of the Wild too. I never wanted it to end. I just wanted to keep on doing random stuff. Yes. Okay, so someone said, I thought one of the civs in this game had access to magical railguns, so something weird that could pierce enemies on a line path isn't too far-fetched. Piercing would be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I mean like the rail guns are really good. They're like the highest level of technology that was achieved by the Kuldari, and there's not many of them in the game. Like you would have to kill one of the Gwites to like get more of them. Um, and so there's one character that comes with one, and it's her like prized possession. And so it would be pretty sad if you took that off of her because for one there's like only a few people in the game who will be able to use it without training, like without extra training, I mean. But yeah, the the railguns are really good. Understandably so. Like they were used to topple like an entire society of people. So it's the only way they could was to have these like super advanced weapons.
That's historically correct, though. There have been technology like radio, for example, was uh, a turning point for shoot World War. I want to say one. Someone fact check me.
Yeah, I mean for like a short history lesson on the the different races of, and more like species in this case, um, of Nysera. Those of you who know, there is the Anvala and there are the Gishin. The Anvala are effectively the most powerful spellcasters in the world, and they ruled the world for freaking forever. Not just like thousands of years, but hundreds of thousands of years, right? For like an unimaginable scale of time that our little human brains pretty much can't comprehend. They're immortal, and they are made to be immortal. So they don't have insanity issues looking into the abyss of time like we do, because again, our little monkey brains are meant to survive like 25 years tops, and they are not like that. So um, it took a monumental effort for the lowly Gashin, who are the closest analog to humans, to actually find a place in the world because they were more or less seen as scum. They sucked at magic and they couldn't talk to the gods, and so they were treated effectively as like animals. So it took them a long time to gradually figure out how to, if not, because they couldn't actually match their magical level, right? Because even though Gashin live longer than humans, they don't live long enough to just master magic like the Anvala did. So they had to find some way to fight for survival, and that turned out to be technology. and they had to have technology that was better than ours in order to actually fight them. Like ours as a like the Earth species. So like regular guns couldn't cut it, and they actually abandoned them a long time ago anyways. So they had to switch to far more elaborate technology.
And quick audio check here is, are you guys able to hear via Discord? Okay, so one of us says yes. Okay. I feel like one of our members is constantly running into bugs. And you, friends, we love people like you. Why? Because then I can troubleshoot for other people who might run into the same thing. But you're really good at finding them. I feel like if you play the game, just the strangest stuff is going to happen just to you. And maybe bugs are it's like tapping into your innate luck, the luck that you were born with. I swear, there are some truly unlucky people in this world. I will say. I know someone who's constantly getting into car stuff. And at first I thought, well, maybe they're just a bad driver. And then it just kept on coming. Like, even a deer came out, and then I started to develop this theory of, well, maybe we do have some kind of innate luck or unluckiness to us. And there's even people who've been struck by lightning more than once. And maybe they're just more conductive than the rest of us. I have no idea. But, like, that is damn unlucky.
I mean, people who get struck by lightning a bunch of times, though, they're like, we think of, like, when you think about where they live, right? So they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm the most unlucky man in the world. I got struck by lightning 6 times. Where do you live? I live in Missouri. Oh yeah, where like the most god-awful lightning storms happen year-round, right? Yep. Have you ever moved? Nope. Then it's not you, it's Missouri. Stop living on a hill in the place where thunder strikes the most often.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Florida. I'm afraid of sinkholes because the idea of being buried alive is not appealing to me.
Yeah, that's scary.
Oh, yeah. I just love being buried alive. Just reading the comments here. It's a delightful experience. Yeah, it's it's like getting one of those weighted blankets, but 100 times that. It could be anxiety reducing. Oh, someone's got wine on the horizon. Good on ya. What kind, though? What kind of wine? Matters. Oh, Amontillado. Is that a sweet wine? It sounds sweet. Sounds like a light white wine. I'll actually leave you be, Tony, just for a little bit so you can actually get some coding in. How close are we? Wait, I just told you I'd leave you be, and then I was going to ask you a question immediately after that. Yeah, wine sounds so good right now. Agreed. I like deep red wines. Not the sweet kind, just bitter. A nice bitter red cup. I'd ask Edgar Allan Poe, but I don't think he'll answer the question. And then somebody like cider. Tony loves cider. In fact, he hated alcohol before trying cider, and then now whenever we go out, it's cider's
Yeah, I kind of like weird alcohols. Like I drink mead. Like I make my own mead and drink mead. But still not much. Like I have to mix it with things because I I just like spent so much time in the lab working with alcohols and just other chemicals that I just can't stand the smell of it because I'm just like tuned to never drink anything in a lab, right? Nothing. You don't get to bring your water into it because what if you accidentally drink a beaker full of something bad, right? So anytime I smell chemical, specifically alcohol, um, I can't drink it. But if I can't smell or taste the alcohol, I'll drink that shit down all the time. So sweet meat's pretty good. Close enough. Like I can deal with that. Especially if I make it. If I brew my own alcohol, I'll definitely drink it. Just because I made it.
$4 wine at France? That's actually pretty decent. It's pretty good. And a cidercade. Do you get to play games and drink cider? Speaking of which, I have to recommend for the people local. So if you're in the Portland metro area, Mox's Boarding House, the place where you can eat food from a decent restaurant and play games, drink some beer or cider or wine, all at the same time. And they even have some this cool board game shop. So we went there and we did a murder mystery party. I'll share something in the chat. From the murder mystery party. It was the only time I grew out my mustache.
Grew out your mustache. Right.
Tony's always shaming my peach fuzz. He's holding it in.
You said you wouldn't bother me.
What? I'm talking in basically just third person here. You engaging with that's your choice, buddy. Or second person, sorry. I know these things. Well, no, actually third person because I said Tony. I call it, well, yeah, third person. Third person. I was at work today and we were doing some whiteboarding. And I commented on the whiteboarder because they had the most excellent what's it correct? Handwriting. Like, it was so clear. And I will say programmers and mathematicians share one thing in common, which is we have chicken scratch. It's ineligible. If someone found your secret diary, they wouldn't be able to read it. So you're all good. No need to lock up that thing. Oh, I found it. I found the picture. There we go. Yours truly. I played what was that guy's name? Roscoe. Yeah. I played Roscoe. So how close are we to hitting play on this bad boy?
Huh?
Just being able to test it out.
Um, I guess in a couple seconds, if this works. So
Cool.
yeah, won't have any sound for um the gun effect, but at least hopefully we'll have the projectile and we'll have the little puff of smoke.
Fun, fun. That'll be a good time to end the stream, but we always try to show something off, just whatever we fixed or created towards the end.
Yep. So thanks for everyone who showed up to watch me type stuff out.
It's been a lot of fun though. We really enjoy doing our Ricket Wednesdays because, for one, then we always have something to push out for um, the versioning that we do on Fridays. So we release the new demo or updates to the game. But yeah, we're glad that you enjoy our chitter chatters, as you put it. We we have a lot of chitter chatters. Plenty to share. And then for other Wreck-It Wednesdays, we will also do like a dual screen thing. So if Tony has something that he's working on that he won't be able to share during the game, he'll have his screen up doing it, so you'll see this, and then I'll have my screen up as I play with the demo and try to break it and find new bugs and stuff like that. So that's always entertaining. So we try to make it entertaining for you guys. Which, just a random thought here. So we were talking about attention span the other day, and just entertainment on YouTube, because I was looking at our stats and such, and it's pretty average, right? Like, the average user is going to quickly find out in the first 10 seconds of the video whether they're going to watch it or not. Not even 10 seconds, even less than that. But the average viewership for the long videos that we've posted is about 3 to 5 minutes long. So essentially, it made me think about just people's attention span, and just some people will say our attention span has gotten worse over time, and I actually disagree. And Tony and I, that's what we were talking about, is I think that's just something, it takes a long time for any species to change. It's not like we evolved into worse attention spans, something like that. I think we are just flooded with information, and when you're given so many choices, like if you walk into a room that's just filled with stuff, you're not gonna know. You're gonna spend very little time on anything, versus if you walk into a bare white room with a table and a vase with 3 stemmed daisies in it. You'll know how many daisies there are, and if what color it is and stuff like that. You'll be able to remember it. But anywho, all that to say, I was noodling the idea of, for the streams, not editing the full hour and actually just taking the highlights of the video, or snippets of it, and squishing all of that into a 3-minute recap. Because if people only watch 3 minutes, then why make a hour-long video? You know what I mean?
Okay, let's give this a try. but we have an error.
Converting
Oh.
an audio file.
Yeah.
So we
I
gotta
tried to
delete
convert-
something.
Yeah, I tried to convert an audio file that doesn't exist, so. We're gonna give this a random sound then for now.
What sound do you have available? You maybe record a scream.
I'll just do I have a cannon sound, but that's like huge. It's like, so it's like a stupidly large explosion. So we'll just use that for now.
It's just a regular bullet, right?
Yeah, but I don't have that sound just yet.
You could just like record yourself going
Bang bang.
yeah. Pew pew.
Pew. And then for the fiery gunshot. It's got some like flaminess to it.
Cloud is all like, sorry, what were we talking about?
Nothing. Don't listen to us.
No, before that, when I was rambling about attention spans.
Hey, I'm focused. I've been working on this thing for
You have
over an
been.
hour.
Have you? Let me check. Okay, you have. It's been over an hour. Come on. You can do it.
Okay, so I gotta share my screen for the game.
Okay. Ooh, it has this tint. It has a tint to it. Is this your
Yeah.
testing area?
Yep, this is the debug room.
Debug room.
So it's just got all sorts of weird stuff that I test out, like different features and formations and stuff. So none of this is like used in the game, obviously. But I've got all the different units that I'm testing. So latest one was this sapper, which is people that use explosives.
Oh, okay. Let me make sure people can see.
So here's our latest character, which is Lanoa. She's got a powder rifle, gold rounds.
We
Small
haven't
plate.
seen this character before.
Nope, she's brand new. I mean, she's been in the works for a while, but she's finally in the game now. And she's got powder bombs. So she's got the whole loadout of a classic sapper.
She looks very dusty.
Yeah, so she comes from Cyprivon, which is a marshy hellscape of a place far to the west. It almost the sun almost never shines there because there's a constant haze and fog over the entire place, and the people there are kind of they live mostly underground because it is just not safe to live on the surface there, and there's just stuff that bleaches your skin. So like the waters themselves are caustic, and so they have to wear stuff over them all the time to not be burned by it and to actually breathe in the open air. And so they're always wearing these suits when they're in Cyprivon, so they do not get any vitamin D. They pretty much look like a bunch of Oregonians. So they actually have kind of become slightly albino-ish because there's no need to have pigment there. So after like hundreds of years of living there, more or less. So that's why she's like uber pale. She's probably the palest person in the game, other than her brother, who's like, he's an academic too, so he's like translucent. But anyways, let's see if her equipment actually works. Nope, it didn't even do the effect, which is kind of expected. there's probably a few problems. But at least it didn't break, so I'm gonna have to figure out why it didn't do the effect, but I'm guessing it's because it just didn't know to use the new effect that we added. So we can try one more time. At least with the debugger on to see if it actually works. Or if anything, so we know if it's not doing an effect. Okay, so this time we have the debugger on, so what it's going to do is it's going to pause the game, ideally when it tries to draw the effect. If it doesn't even bother trying to draw the effect, then I know that it didn't do anything. So that's one of the best ways to diagnose is if it's not even doing the thing that you want to do, then you can go further back in the code and find out why it's not doing it. It made the noise, but didn't draw the effect.
I had to step away for a second, but did it work?
Nope. It actually made the noise, but it didn't draw the effect.
I see.
Which it might, actually, I might need to check this real quick. Because I think I know what it's doing wrong, but... okay. Yeah, so we're gonna try again, but we're just gonna steal the gun from Lano and shoot with a different person. Actually, I may not be able to do that, because I think this generic guy does not have training. Oh, it does! Look at that, okay.
I like how you have invisible units.
Invisible?
Oh. There's just like little question mark bubbles over empty tiles. So in my mind I was, they're invisible!
Oh, yeah, so I was testing out secrets. So every now and then I'll do them on like just anywhere on the ground.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so it's not even spawning the effect, so we gotta find out why. But that's probably gonna have to be for another time. At least we got it in there and it didn't crash, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But I think that's probably a good time to stop things.
Sure, sure. So I'll give my little end spiel here.
Sure.
So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Honestly, like the reason why we do these streams is because it's fun to hang out with you guys. And I love just seeing what kind of ideas you have in your questions and comments. And so, honestly, thank you so much from both Tony and I.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to just do these and show off the game a little bit and see what we're working on.
But we'll catch you next time. We've got
Mhm.
Speaker Sunday coming up here, and we're going to do a recap of the first sprint. So, and we're going to do Speaker Sundays at the end of every sprint. So you essentially get to hear what we do every step of the way, and then obviously Wreck It Wednesdays, you get to see us developing the game. Or see us, Tony developing the game. So, yeah. I'm really happy you guys joined us tonight, and we'll see you next time.
One last thing too. This is just a little observation I had of a different developer group, because I recently tried out a game, didn't like it and returned it, and then kind of went digging to see like what's the deal with this game. It looked fun, and I found out that like even though they did an early access game, right, early access indie game, but they didn't talk with the community at all for like months on end, even after releasing like the initial game. So they were like dead silent for months about their development, and I just thought that was weird that like they just didn't say anything for like 6 months, and then they released an update. So they finished the game, but people were upset because they just had no idea what the status of the game was at all, right? And they actually have like a rather big team, so I guess I was kind of surprised that there's like these large teams that just don't communicate to their people at all. But anyways,
It definitely takes effort.
it does.
Yeah, and then someone said that's a good way to lose goodwill.
Exactly. Like I was reading people who were saying like they like the game, but they were frustrated with the devs, right? That they just like they bought into this, they loved the concept, they clearly had something cool, but then they just sort of went dark for months and never bothered to let anybody know what they were doing. But even just like because this kind of stuff is, I mean, it's hard to do, but like set up a Discord and just like chat with people and show them what you're working on. I feel like that's at least a like a minimum you could do, right? But maybe that's a lot for some groups, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think to each their own, right? It's oh, actually somebody said to be honest, I'd prefer closed-lipped with a closed-lipped team. So, I I don't know, just being part of the creativity, you know. That means a lot to me personally. But yeah.
All right, guys.
100% agree. Yeah, you guys have a great night. Y'all are awesome and amazing. Get some rest, especially if you're on the East Coast. I know it's late for you guys. Or all the way in Australia. Actually, Australia's 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning. They're totally opposite from us.
Yeah, waking up.
But yeah, see you next time.
Bye, guys.